Okay, so happy Sunday and welcome to Viewers Voices, the little Sunday show on which I highlight messages that viewers of Donu's World have kindly shared with me, usually on YouTube, occasionally on other social media platforms like Facebook. So let's look at last Friday's video, not 2 days ago, the Friday before. And I talked in that video about the value of workers. Because, we had just had International Workers' Day, and I asked everyone to remember the people who do all the dirty, ordinary jobs and often ignored and appreciated, exploited. And Patricia Wask, one of my favorites, says, "You know what, Donu? You're absolutely right about the workers out there who make our lives and communities better. They truly contribute so much to our lives that make us happier, better, easier, and more pleasant. Sorry, make our lives more pleasant, etc. Not to mention beautiful, like the man who takes care of our lawn and gardens." Actually, that's true. I mean, let me put a shout out to the man who takes care of my garden. And I remember so many other categories of workers I didn't mention in that video. For example, the people who work in morgues or mortuaries in hospitals, not just the nurses and doctors who are already doing a great job, or the porters who are doing a lot of practical heavy lifting and stuff. What about the people who have to deal with our friends and relatives when they pass away in hospital? It's a pretty grim job. Someone's got to do it, and people do it, and they do it well. So many of them. What about soldiers? We keep on talking about India invading Pakistan, Ukraine and Russia, Israel and Gaza, and all these different countries where there's conflict. Whatever you think about those individual conflicts, there are people who are soldiers who go out there every morning risking their lives and losing their lives on a regular basis. Those are people's children, brothers, sons, husbands. So, I keep on thinking of new categories of people to thank whenever this workers comes up. So let's never forget them, and not just remember them on one public holiday a year. Okay? So let's look at last week's Nigeria Unfiltered video, which is a video I do every Wednesday, specifically about Nigeria, as the title implies. And Patricia again. Thank you, Patricia, because I have very low response from YouTube this week. So I'm so glad you're there, keeping me posted and responding to my comments. And she says, in this particular video, I complained about the fact that Nigerians do not like to protest, even when they're very angry, even when they're hungry, even when they're bitter and sad, and they've been treated really badly by the government. On the whole, they don't do anything about it except complain privately. So I said they ought to try harder to make their feelings known to the authorities, and they ought to go out there and protest. And Patricia says, do you think it's fear that keeps the masses silent, or have Nigerians just given up? It's sad to hear of Nigerians accepting bad government. Americans aren't like this. When we are subjected to bad government, we vote to throw them out. Okay, Patricia, well, that's a very good question about fear. And yeah, I'm sure that fear is the main motivation behind the docility of the average Nigerian voter. We've had military dictatorships here for a long time, and even these so-called civilian democratic governments are not nowhere near as, how do I put it, democratic as democracies in the Western world. It's very easy for journalists or protesters to get locked up or shot at here. So yeah, I guess it's cowardice, but it's kind of understandable. But it's just that I think things are getting so bad that if people don't protest, we're never going to get out of this mess. Okay, so the next one is from Tayo Olatunji. Now, I won't read Tayo's entire letter because it's long, but let me just summarize it. You can read it on the screen. I'll leave it on the screen for a short while so you can. He complains that Nigerians are a conquered people who make poor political choices, and he includes me in that. Complains about the president, the vice president, and Peter Obi, the candidate that I voted for in 2023, because, being a journalist, everyone knows who I voted for because I wrote about it. And he just doesn't think any of them are good enough. He says Tinubu, the current president, is corrupt. The vice president, Shetima, is corrupt. And Peter Obi is also corrupt and visibly mediocre. So, well, you're entitled to your opinion, and you do, at some length, go into details about why you think Peter, my beloved Peter Obi, was a bad choice. Mostly about his support for a previous military dictator, which, to be honest with you, I haven't investigated, so I'm not sure I believe you that he was very pro-Abacha. But let's just leave that for now. And let me read your final paragraph. You say, if Nigerians were class conscious, the choices required to pull Nigeria from the brink would not require Einstein-level reasoning. Full alignment with a visionary revolutionary that represents a complete break from the establishment past, not trying to scam Nigerians by replacing 6 with half a dozen. Okay, so, well, I hear you. Some of the points you made, I am going to investigate. And I thank everybody who has taken the trouble to contact me. And I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday for the next episode of Nigeria Unfiltered, next Friday for the next episode of Donu's Week, and next Sunday for the next episode of Viewers' Voices. Bye.